Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. My 40th husband, 42 meters, wants me to sleep with other men. Update. My husband and I have been married for 14 years, but have known each other since I was 7 and he was 9. We were neighbors and his family lived just a few blocks away from mine. We were the best of friends growing up and started dating when I was 13 and he was 15, but broke up when he left for college at 18. During that time, he's had a whole college experience while I focused more on my education and career, so I never really dated anyone. We reconnected when we were 22 and 24 respectively and have been together ever since. Needless to say, he was more than surprised that I was never with anyone in the 7 years we were apart. It just never felt right. Now I know he's been with several women before, but it never really bothered me. I've pretty much indulged every sexual fantasy he's ever had as long as he promised that sex was just for us. I told him that all I wanted was a committed and monogamous relationship with him, and it's been that way since. About a month ago, he dropped a bomb. I've always encouraged him to be open and honest with me about anything, but it was still a shocker. Apparently, he's always had this fantasy about me having sex with other guys while he watches. The very thought of this made me violently ill, and I told him that I would never do it. He tried to argue for a bit, but he dropped it, or so I thought. We own several small businesses together, but I've since taken a step back after we had kids. I still help out with management every now and then though. A few days after that encounter, I came by the office to have lunch with him and help with some paperwork, and I've noticed that some of the staff, especially the younger guys, started acting all flirty with me, which I found very inappropriate. I told my husband, but he just shrugged and smiled, saying it was normal cause I was attractive. Even when he had a few of his buddies over to watch basketball, one of his friends openly flirted with me in the kitchen while I prepared their snacks. Again, I told my husband, but he just shrugged it off. He never really brought up that fantasy of his directly, but since then he's been casually mentioning how good looking this person or that person is, almost as if he's trying to set me up with them. Every time I call him out on it, he just says he's not doing anything wrong and that he's just talking. I'm at the end of my rope. I've always found pride in the fact that I've only ever been with one man. It's always been special to me and he knows this, but it doesn't seem like he respects that at all. I've always been devoted to him since we were kids, but he doesn't seem to value my commitment and loyalty at all. Every time I try talking to him about it, he says he's already dropped it, yet I always have this gut feeling that the people flirting with me were doing it with his encouragement. Before that, everyone knew how devoted I was. What should I do? I definitely don't want to divorce cause I do love him with all my heart, but this whole thing has been driving me crazy. Any advice? Edit to add, I don't want to have sex with other men. I never have and I probably never will. The very idea makes me sick. I only ever wanted to do it with him cause I always believed that sex should be reserved only for someone you love, but I don't really push this narrative to others, that's just me. Nope. Just tell him he has to drop it forever if he wants to be with you. And it sounds like he's already crossing boundaries and trying to wear you down. Yeah, now that I think about it, he is trying to wear me down. I'm not exactly sure what it is he told his employees and friends though, so it's hard to judge them outright. But yeah, maybe I wasn't being firm enough when I said I won't do it. Awesome answer. Maybe I wasn't being firm enough when I said I won't do it. It's not that you weren't firm enough, it's that he didn't respect your answer. He is not showing respect for your consent. And it seems by the suspicious flirty behavior of acquaintances, he's not respecting your dignity, your identity, and your reputation. Just wanted to emphasize that you are not the problem. You could have said no in 12 languages, he's the one that hasn't respected you. Don't give in to this nonsense. Faithfulness is worth a lot more than to indulge in his selfishness. If the employees are being flirty, outright put them back in place. You worked previously there as one of the top dogs. So tell them to back off. Same with his buddies. If he does not respect your wishes, tell him he better all leave. Trust me, I won't give in this time. And yeah, maybe I should be more firm in telling him and the other guys to back off. Wow. I would not think he told any of his workers anything. I would definitely assume he told his friends to try and bang you. Don't do anything you're uncomfortable with. No judgment here, everyone is different. If he doesn't listen to you, maybe that's the end. I think he told the employees because they used to be very respectful of my personal space and none of them really flirted with me till recently. And yeah, I definitely won't do it. I've always loved to indulge what he likes doing and I try my best to make him happy and feel loved, but this is a stretch too far. Jesus. Maybe he should just make you happy for a change and not ruin your marriage. Wishing the best for you. This is an extension of his kink. It's hot to see other men desire you. It's incredibly disrespectful of him and you need to establish a firmer boundary, which, if he doesn't respect, needs to become a deal breaker. This comment needs way more upvotes. Update: my 40F husband, 42 meters, wants me to sleep with other men. So it's been a month since I posted and a lot has happened since, so I figured I'd update you guys now that things have somewhat settled in a way. Here's what happened. A few days after I posted, my husband had his friends over again. As I was making their sandwiches, one of his friends came up behind me and grabbed my waist and started calling me beautiful and sexy. I'm not sure if I mentioned this in my previous post, but I don't like being touched by others unless I'm close to them. Instinctively, I stabbed him with the butter knife, and while it was dull, I did hit him hard enough to draw a bit of blood. His friend started cursing at me and my husband, who rushed in the room after he heard me scream. His friend kept saying, "You said it was okay," over and over. I'm not exactly sure what happened next, cause after I slapped my husband, I walked right out of the kitchen and locked myself in our room. I've never felt so unloved and disrespected in my entire life. Our kids were at my Mills house BTW. I didn't leave there till the next morning and found my husband sleeping on the couch smelling of booze. After he sobered up, we talked. It was long, but to summarize the whole thing. Apparently, a few of his buddies were into wife swapping and sharing them with other men. Swinging is what he called it, if I remember correctly. One just liked sharing his wife with other men. They talked a lot about their sexual adventures and my husband said he got jealous and it made him miss his promiscuous past and he started fantasizing about it. I reminded him of my boundaries and he said he was so caught up in the fantasy, he didn't think anything else mattered. He said that night was a wake-up call and for the first time, he was genuinely afraid of losing me. I know he's not lying. I've known him for over 3 decades, so I can easily tell when he's being genuine. I told him how disrespected I felt the last few weeks where people in his life would flirt with me. I told him how miserable it made me feel that he wasn't taking my commitment to him seriously. I told him that as much as I loved him, the sight of him makes me boiling with rage. He said he understands but that he'll do anything to make it up to me. To make things clear, I'm not mad cause of his fantasies. I'm mad at the disrespect he's shown me since his confession and he has acknowledged this. Long story short, we are currently separated. I just couldn't stand living with him at this moment in time. The kids and I moved out and are now living in his sister's guest house. It's great here and the kids love being around their cousins and my Mill, who's been living in the guest house since before we moved in. His sister knows the story and is on my side and his mother just knows that he messed up. I'm in low contact with my husband now. He's in therapy, which is good for him. I'm also in therapy to help deal with what's going on. He has also told me that he cut all contact with his circle of friends and in the few times I went to the office to drop the kids off to him, no one flirted with me. I still love my husband, so reconciliation is definitely on the table and neither one of us has brought up divorce yet. He knows what he needs to do and what he needs to work on, and kicking his friends out was a good start. After some time we'll do marriage counseling, but only after I've seen him put in the work. He knows he has to win me back and never take me for granted again. I'm hopeful for our family to be together again and that I can get my old loving husband back, but at the moment, I'm just trying to hold it together for my kids. This sounded more like a rant, but it's been rather cathartic. Thanks for the advice in my last post, I appreciate every single one of them. TLDR, we are separated but we both want to reconcile eventually. Edit, I'm here to clarify a few things. I didn't force him to cut off his friends. It was something I would have brought up once MC was coming up, but he did so voluntarily. I'm pretty sure my husband never slept with any of their wives. I don't doubt that he wanted to though. He simply never had the time nor the means to do so. Most of the time, him and his friends hang out at our place. All of his time in the business is accounted for, so he never comes home late nor is he secretive of his phone. I swear up and down that he never slept with anyone else, and I've known him well enough to know he isn't lying. Reconciliation is something that's not guaranteed. He'll have to show me he's changed, or rather he's found his old self again. He'll have to sweep me off my feet again, and I definitely won't make things easy. It's not something that will happen overnight though, and I still haven't forgiven him yet. It's like, I love him and hate him at the same time, if that makes sense. No, we won't be seeing other people. Sorry to hear about what happened, but I applaud how you handled it. You did the right thing by separating from him. He needed to understand that his actions have consequences, and that a marriage is not all about love or sex, but furthermore about trust and respect. I hope that it all will work out in the end in your favor. Good luck and stay strong. The butter knife makes up one of my favops. Me too. And how gross. Instead of apologizing profusely, the guy started telling Op's husband you said it was okay. Though I agree he should have apologized first, I can understand why he would ask that first, since he was basically tricked into thinking Op was open. It's not that weird, is it? I imagine her husband had been egging him on, maybe even saying his wife was secretly into it and waiting for him to make a move. He got betrayed by his friend just as much as she got betrayed by her husband. Maybe not weird as in uncommon, but weird as in not okay. You can't consent for someone else, he could have still asked. He's lucky. My wife would have gutted him like a fish and then drawn war paint on her face with his blood. As purely an automatic reaction, not something she'd think about. I'd usually, if it's clear you just accidentally sexually assaulted someone, you address that right away. It's not weird to say that to the husband after. Yes, he was going in for a fun flirt, in his mind, obviously not okay, but that is due to the husband lying, and ended up getting stabbed. I expect nothing less than purely rational actions from him. He gave his friends permission to touch you like you were a pet dog. Yeah, it's okay to pet Op. I don't understand how reconciliation is on the table. You deserve better. I know I deserve better, which is why we're separated. I know what kind of man he truly is, and I love that version of him more than anything, so I want nothing more than for him to find himself again. He told his friends they were allowed to rape you. How is that not the real kind of man he truly is? He has zero respect for you. He doesn't see you as an equal, as a person, he sees you as a sex toy. The kind of man that tells his friends it's okay to grope you without your consent. Please consider that he may have done sexual things with his friends' wives too. That's just seeing your husband in rose-tinted glasses. This is your husband. He decided that he wanted to try and force you into this open relationship. No one forced him into it, he said it himself. He just got jealous and tried to make you play along with it. What else is he gonna get jealous of and try and force you to do? This is also 30 years of history. She knows him well. This is not typical behavior from the way Op explained it. It's very obvious he needs to go to therapy. Until he gets his issues fixed, she's likely not going back. We all duck up, but this is way beyond that. He needs external help and is getting that. Beyond that, I'd wait and see what the mental health professionals have to say about this whole scenario. She handled this very well. Oh, shut the duck up, dude. She's known him for 30 plus years while you've literally read 2 posts on Reddit. Go duck yourself. Don't listen to this clown. If you know who your husband is, then make sure he takes the proper course of action for any kind of reconciliation to happen. But for the love of God, don't listen to these miserable ducks in r/relationship_advice. No dude, WTF are you saying? Oh, she's known him for 30 years, so ducking what? People change, they don't stay the same. This is the same type of shit that happens in abusive relationships. Husband starts off as sweet, years into the relationship hits his wife. The wife's like, oh, it happened once, it was my fault, he had never done this, he won't do it again, he's not that type of person, and then next thing you know he beats her up. And I don't give a flying duck that he's in therapy and that he suddenly realized what he was doing is wrong. The damage has been done. What if she didn't have the butter knife? What if she has gotten raped? What about that? What? Are you going pity the husband? Say shit like he's need therapy, he won't do it again. Poor him, he's gonna lose his wife, you woo. No dude, just no, honestly, go duck yourself. You went from literally a guy who has never done anything remotely bad in their 30 plus years of marriage from what she's been telling us up until now to her. What if he literally starts elbowing her in the face until she's bleeding? Lamau, you've read once again, I repeat, 2 Reddit posts about the person and their marriage. Literally 2, and she even says in those 2 Reddit posts that he has been an incredible husband outside of this incident and that he didn't properly communicate his fetish with her. Once again, I implore you to not listen to these miserable, unhinged, absolute moronic excuses of human beings. You know who your husband is. He has been taking necessary steps in fixing this. Don't let these ducking idiots try to sway you from what you think is appropriate. I'm done responding to you, BTW, because you are absolutely ducking, unhinged Lamau. He didn't communicate his fetish with me and did a pretty scummy thing, so now that means he's going to start absolutely beating the living shit out of me and who knows, even murdering me! 1111 herder. Absolutely unhinged maniac. Just a thought, your husband has been publicly diminishing your commitment to each other for a while now. He has indicated to people at work, his friends and God knows who else that you, as a couple, are open to extramarital relations. An equally public retraction of this, along with an acknowledgement of how he was entirely in the wrong to insinuate such a thing and did so without your consent, would be in order. Yes, it will embarrass him, but it is the only way to clang shut the door that he opened. I'm happy that you put an end to that crap. But your husband tried to pimp you out to not just one friend but a few. Going back to someone like that seems one hell of stretch. You sound like a very patient, loving, and dedicated person, and it's clear that you love your husband very much. That being said, what he's been doing is a clear violation of your boundaries, and comes from a lack of respect for you. He's centering his pleasure and fantasies over your autonomy. You made your stance very clear, and he completely bulldozed over that to get what he wants. It seems like you're leaning towards eventual reconciliation, but I'd encourage you to be super cautious and very stringent with his growth as a person. Your love is precious, and just because you are so devoted, I worry that you'll allow this man back into your good graces without a substantial show of change and understanding about how terrible his mindset and actions are. He invited sexual assault onto your person because of his own selfish desires. I'd also encourage you to seek counseling for yourself as well, and not just for your marriage. Don't let him pin all this on his friends either. Dude is 42, peer pressure and jealousy shouldn't overwrite his brain so that he completely dismisses you and your needs and comfort. Good luck, Op. I'm a big bearded lumberjack looking white dude, and reading this just made me think you go girl. Over and over. Nicely done, with everything, mad respect. Wishing you the best. Bruh. WTF. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night. Wherever you are.